How can you turn the world of digital advice into your reality? We've brought together some of the key thought leaders from the financial services space to share their tech innovations and demonstrate this new world of digital advice live and in action. So this session is chaired by Laurel Papworth, which you all met at the keynote, and we'll be covering the digital advice in practices, everything you need to know, showcases the advice-driven hybrid digital advice and self-directed digital advice offerings that are available to advice businesses. Just a little bit about Laurel. In 2025, she used her background in virtual currencies, right, to submit a patent to decentralised currency for play-to-earn fitness using LOT 3 years before Bitcoin. She taught augmented reality community building for Facebook, Google and Microsoft in California in 2021 and has been named Forbes magazine as top 50 most influential social and online community expert. Laurel mentors companies visualising, building and managing Web3 and metaverse solutions for artificial intelligence solutions and merging technology, philosophy and social psychology to present a holistic metaverse strategy. Please welcome Laurel Papworth.
Now, can you hear me? My mic's on, I believe. Good. Okay.
It's on now.
Thank you. So first of all, I thought we might take a half-hour nap after lunch. Okay, maybe not. We have here today George Haramus. Yes? Haramus. My apologies. George has 35 years financial services experience in senior executive roles, and he's from Money GPS. And I do want to point out, because we were having a discussion and it seemed important, that he's, what's the AFSL again?
Fiduciary Financial Services.
That's it. You're connected to them somehow.
Yes, the fiduciary is the official name.
Yep.
But a lot of people can't pronounce or spell fiduciary.
Fiduciary?
So the trading name is Money GPS.
Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you. We also have Ashley Mahadia, who's the Head of Client Partnerships at Advice Intelligence. And you heard from Jackie from Advice Intelligence at this morning's plenary as well. Over 10 years experience in financial planning industry. And you're also the FAAA Gen Next National Chair.
I am.
Cool. And lastly, we have Greg Hansen, Executive Group Strategy Hub 24. 30 years in the Australian financial services. You have my condolences.
George's got 30.
How do you think I feel?
And then I'm being naughty. Okay, I wanted to say something about SOAs. Can you just explain that bit?
Statement of advice.
Right.
A written document that needs to be provided when an advisor provides advice to a client.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm here to learn today, by the way. It's the only reason I'm here. Cool. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start with what are the risks of AI or emergent technology or things around that. And by looking at the risks, we're then going to look at the benefits so we can bookend and understand where we are on those two scales. So my questions to the three experts here will be around risk first and then benefits. The end of the session is an educational walkthrough of the services that they're providing. They come in from different angles, they have different products, and I'm looking forward to learning lots today. So first of all, I want to address the question about risks. George, what do you think the potential risks are in this space?
So, Laura, we have a slide. Can we put the slide up there to show that?
Where's the clicker? Who's got the clicker?
There's always a slide, so I'll put that on.
on this technology thing.
So there's,
There you are. Thank you, darling.
great, thank you.
The green one.
Yeah.
Top green one.
I'll just leave that there for the time being. So we just put together this slide that really looks at the 5 key risks that we want to discuss, or how we focus to mitigate those risks. The first one I'll start with is regulatory. So whenever we're presenting our technology, the first question is, because our tech is fully client-led digital advice. Fully client-led. So the client takes a journey. At the end of that journey, they're issued with a compliance statement of advice of between 10 to 12 pages. The first question we get asked is, who takes the risk? From a regulatory point of view, whose license do you use? We use our license. Our AFSL delivers the advice. That's the first major hurdle that we jump in terms of mitigating any risk to an existing advisory business or an AFSL. The second one, I think, is decision making, because we use an algorithm and a calculation engine, and the tech works its magic and assesses the person's need for a particular advice topic or topics that are in their best interest to access. Now, those algorithms and advice engines are created by humans. There's a lot of human input, but once we agree on the rules are set. There's no bias that comes into the tech. From a compliance and legal perspective, we use specialist people, our lawyers, they're best in field in terms of a legal input. Again, that is all input into the tech, and that is static. We review the tech on a regular basis to make sure that we keep up with the regulatory environment. And the last one is, the last couple, hybrid. Tech is really good, but it's what you do with the tech, how you leverage the tech. And in this case, we have a hybrid service that allows people to engage with ex-CFPs, ex-financial planners, salaried people that give general advice to make sure that the client, that they validate the client decisions, help them to the next step, to the next SOA, or triage them back to an advisor if there's a trigger point for comprehensive advice. The last one is the tech itself. Very important from a security point of view. We have penetration testing on the tech. All of the data is encrypted, at rest and in play, and we're just about to issue an RFP for actuaries to look at the assumptions we made so we get actual sign-off. So those 5 key areas from our point of view are risks, but also how to mitigate those risks as well.
Right. Yeah, it's always a good idea to look at both. Don't bring me just the problem, but the solution.
Yeah.
And you both, if I understand correctly, both single advice and hybrid advice, is that correct?
Single topic, one topic at a time, but we have a hybrid engagement model, so the client can continue on the tech on their own and even implement the advice recommendations, or they can meet with a qualified ex-financial planner who doesn't give personal advice but delivers general advice, validates the decisions that clients make in terms of their progressing with the tech.
So they can call for a friend.
They can call for a friend, we're all very friendly, or if they need to be triaged or referred to a financial planner.
Okay, thank you.
Laurette, I believe that we have a non-debate in our industry. It's been there for a very, very long time. It's the advisor versus robot debate. And it started a few years back because we saw the emergence of robo-advice solutions. And advisors saw those solutions as a threat. They were going to replace the advisors, devalue the services provided by advisors, or even cause a reduction in fees. Today, we're lucky because we have the benefit of hindsight. Have they replaced advisors? The answer is no, you're all still here.
But is it still a risk, do you think, that people see it that way?
No, absolutely not. And
Okay.
the reason why is the advisor by themselves, they can provide a certain level of service. The AI can enhance the advisor. And I believe that an advisor that will use digital advice and AI will be much better than an advisor that does not.
So what do you think the risks are?
I don't see a risk. I see opportunities only, right? And I see the ability for an industry to evolve and give advice to a new cohort of Australians that traditionally, they don't want comprehensive financial advice. They don't want to spend $6,000. So I'm going to talk about a lower cost of service, of advice, right? I didn't say low cost, I said lower cost because obviously everyone needs to make money. I see the emergence of new services that advisors can provide where, we're talking about strategic advice. Let's work out the optimal strategic value, the number that you need to be contributing to your super, right, or putting towards your investment, and let people choose the investment vehicle, right? And I think Greg will talk about this in a second, where, with robo-advice, I think we've actually missed the boat there, where instead of seeing the solutions as a threat, it's an opportunity to give advice to
Maybe it was
different
too early.
cohort.
Maybe what's coming is going to be better. I don't know. Greg, what do you think the risks are?
I was fascinated by William's conversation yesterday, the plenary yesterday, and he was asking the question, how do you avoid making those big mistakes? Which got me to thinking about what are the potentially big mistakes that financial planners could make? And I think that's largely around cyber risk. Now, I was a client of Medibank and I was a client of Latitude Financial Services, so I've been told that all my data is on the dark web somewhere.
Yeah.
Hasn't come back to me
Actually,
yet.
I've
but
got it on a USB stick.
Yeah, exactly right. And there was a session in this room a couple of hours ago from Fraser and Jason that looked at the impact on financial services business of a cyber event, and it is massive. They talked about zombie years, and they talked about the fact that these things could hang around for multiple years, always hanging over your head. And so, how do you? What's that major point of vulnerability? And the major point of vulnerability is emails, the emailing of private information between financial professionals and their clients, and clients back to financial professionals. And I think even Fraser had the statistic that 90% of cyber incidents occur as a result of emails into staff. So without wanting to jump to solutions quickly, I'll be talking about client portals and My Prosperity. It's a way, how do you stop that emailing of information and facilitate the transfer of information in a secure way that is convenient for the employee, as well as being adding productivity to the advisor?
I think that convenience is always an issue, because how many people write passcodes on post-it notes because it's not convenient to have so many passcodes everywhere. But, right, okay, thank you. If you didn't have to have clients...
That is an excellent. So the question, for the claim is it's not or the point is that it's not the advisor, it's the client. And that is a very, very valid point, particularly if you're using systems that require multiple passwords and the like. But I think the opportunity here is to use a system that people know and use all the time. If you deal with Centrelink, or you deal with the ATO, or you deal with Medicare, then you don't get a PDF sent to you. You get an alert on your phone saying you need to go into your system and check it out. You log in on facial recognition, and you're immediately into that system. So it's a system that clients are familiar with and used to dealing with and find easy. Now, it's one of the major impediments to that financial planning relationship is financial planning is not easy to deal with. And that's not a financial planner's fault. That's to do with all the compliance and regulation that goes with it. But how do you make it as easy as possible for clients to manage that interaction with the financial planning process as much as the financial planner?
Okay, thank you. So the second question, unless one of you two want to add something to the risk discussion?
Yes, I'll add another one. There's a great discussion in the plenary about AI and machine learning and some of the opportunities that come by. We spent a lot of time talking to licensees in particular about fulfilling their requirements and their abilities, and they want to use machine learning and they want to use the technology that's available. The big issue from their perspective was not about how they get access to data, it's how do they get access to quality data. How do they get access to data that they can trust and use? So when it comes to time, I'll be spending some time talking about the operations of our machine learning lab and the work that we're doing to help advisors and licensees get access to quality data, so then you can use the machine learning engines to generate outcomes such as a lower cost of compliance and a greater efficiency and greater accuracy.
Thank you. And I would like to just add that there's a few technical terms. I know how much you like those. One is dark AI is where you are inputting in data sets that you don't have the right to enter in, so that you're training the AI on something it shouldn't be trained on. But then there's grey AI, because it's in a grey area. There's also semantic data, which is where the AI is feeding on itself, which means if it made a boo-boo, it self-reinforces the boo-boo, like us, like humans. So there's a whole lot of questions for me around, I'm on the same page as them. We need to ask these questions about what is this data, where's it coming from? It's making decisions, so we need to be able to question that. Thank you.
Can I
Go
just
ahead.
add something? I just want to clarify the distinction between robo-advice and personal advice. For us, robo is pure investment. They'll assess your risk profile, they'll put you in a model portfolio. That's robo from our perspective. What we're dealing with, and what a lot of digital providers deal with, is personal advice, and that's what we're talking about today. It's not robo-advice.
Okay.
Laura, can I add
Everybody
something?
understood that?
Yes.
I'm learning. That's good. Thank you.
Laura, if I may add something as well from a compliance perspective, we're talking about risk.
Yep.
I want to talk about the fact that at the moment in Australia, we don't have any AI regulation specific to AI, all right? So it causes a bit of a problem because we're talking about AI solutions today, new technology, etc. But can advisors actually enter client-sensitive data into ChatGPT or any other AI tool, which are not linked to their main CRM?
Well, you can today, but tomorrow you might not be able to.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's a guessing game.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly right. And
And they're
also-
going to move the goalposts on you, I guarantee you. And we're not going to like it when they do.
Yeah, I agree, and we don't know at the moment, right? And we've got to be careful with that. Another point I want to make with compliance is, do we need to disclose to our clients that we're using AI to, let's say, do marketing communication or even work out the advice strategies? If I was a client of an advisor, I think it's something that I would like to know. Do we need to include those disclosures in the existing compliance documents that we currently have within our current legislation? Again, they're all unanswered questions. And before we move forward, we need those questions answered. Yeah.
But they won't be answered definitively. I also want to point out that OpenAI have terms and conditions. One of their terms and conditions is that you must declare you used an OpenAI product if you're using it in marketing or social media. How often do you see somebody put up a social media post and say, written by OpenAI? Like, they don't. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that coming down the line. Question number 2 is the benefits of AI. Okay, none, let's go.
Okay, so do you want to put our next slide up there?
Yes, please put your next slide up.
Surprise.
Here we go. There you go. That's the second and the last slide from me. So I've just jotted down 5 benefits that we see in delivering digital advice to clients. Our business is to deliver fully client-led advice. It's personal advice. And from our perspective, if I'm talking to a financial advisor, the first point is that a lot of advisors that we're speaking to say, look, I've got a client cohort that I can't afford to look after, that they might be the children of my high net worth clients. The digital advice platform allows you to engage those clients in a very cost-effective, very efficient way. In terms of scaling the advice business, in our platform, whilst it's a broad platform, you can include your own products and services, your own comprehensive advice, your lending service, your insurance, your estate planning. So you can customise the platform for your specific business, and we white label the platform for you. It attracts new clients, digitally savvy clients, millennials. That is a big one going forward. Lots of my nephews and nieces will jump on the net straight away before they see any professional, do a bit of homework, and there's no reason this is any different. Expanding your business. In my previous business, before starting Money GPS, I had an AFSL and we had 35 accounting practices licensed to me. If I still had that business, I would include Money GPS in every one of those practices because it generates new clients, and it's a way of dealing with the accountants, individual clients, smaller SMEs, that the advisor really hasn't got an opportunity to access and service those clients. So it can scale your business, whether a referral source is in Melbourne, Sydney or Broome, better yet in Noosa. And the last point is that when we do engage those clients, they are your clients. This is a pure referral relationship, so we engage, nurture, educate. So when there's a trigger point that the client needs an advisor, it's easy to triage that client back to the financial planner for comprehensive advice. So we would expect, we believe that there should be an uplift in revenue of up to 20% by using digital technology, by using advice technology and scaling your business. Because it's one thing to develop the tech, and it's not a cheap exercise, but we've got to figure out what the outcome will be. And from our perspective, it allows us to leverage and scale a business, whether it's in one state or nationally with a whole group of clients. So we think they're key benefits to any advisory business.
Cool.
I
Thank
think
you.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Ash, what do you think the benefits are?
I think one of the key remits of AI and digital advice in general is to create efficiencies that we haven't seen in years. I think it's very important that we understand the key bottlenecks that advisors face. So when I look at AI today in financial planning, all I hear about is, automation of file notes, tasks, workflows. We can do better, is that what's taking you a lot of time? I really want us to be able to really understand this bottleneck so we can focus the research and development of AI on parts of the advice process that's really taking you a lot of time and costing you a lot of money. What I'm going to show you later is all focused on strategy modeling and how we can reduce the time it actually takes you to produce and develop a financial plan. I believe that if we can reduce that time by 20%, right, and I'm being very conservative there, the impact on your practice profitability is going to be huge. So I really look forward to showing you what we've developed in that space later.
By the way, the studies are showing 19%, so you're 1% over.
Well, there you go.
Just so you know.
He's optimistic, that's right.
Yeah. Thank you. Great.
Some of you are too young to remember. I've been in the industry 30 years and George is 35, so George will remember.
Thanks very much.
Well, you might remember planning a holiday and going to a travel agent, and they do all your booking for you and work out your itinerary and bits and pieces, and what you walk out with is a pack.
Yes.
You walk out with a pack.
Brochures.
Brochures, exactly. Brochures and itineraries, and I was never trusted with it. My wife always took that and just handed out the information that I needed to know. But if you're planning a holiday now, how does it all happen? It happens on the phone. And so that's, I think, is a reasonable analogy for financial planning today. And financial planning, much of it is still stuck in the days of the itinerary. We need to work out how to engage clients and make sure that we are engaging them the way they want to be engaged. So think about the way you do banking, for example, or flights, or any of those experiences. I think Jackie even said today, we live our lives on our phone. And so how do we provide that experience to our clients that they're familiar with, they like dealing with, and they're comfortable with? In-app messaging, document storage, those sorts of things. I've got Gen with younger children. What's the one thing that Gen Z and younger children don't use this device for?
Voice.
Phone calls.
Yeah.
They are petrified of making a phone call. It's all about in-app messaging.
Excellent.
So client experience is one, and to Ash's point as well, it's about creating efficiencies in the advice process. So what are those points of interaction that cause friction, that cause delay, and how do we digitise those and automate those and make it easy for data to go back and forth? So productivity is a big benefit, and I'll demonstrate some of that. But I want to talk quickly about machine learning. So part of our observation was that access to quality data was an issue. And so we've spent a lot of time, we've got an innovation lab within Hub24. It's been running for 5 years, and we've got a range of different machine learning applications that run. A couple of those are, you're working with our licensee partners. They have a look at all the data that comes into via a CRM or an Xplan, for example. It's downloaded, and then one machine goes in and has a look and categorises it into 30 different document types. So statements of advice, records of advice, FDSs, file notes, emails, those sorts of things. And then there's another machine learning engine that goes and has a look at and extracts all the most relevant information. So from a statement of advice, it's the name of the advisor, their recommendations, the risk profile, the fees, and those sorts of things. And so what we're doing is turning unstructured data, which is 85 to 90% of data, into structured data. And then how can the licensees use that to become more efficient and drive efficiencies and accuracy into their systems? And the next part of that, if we've got that data, then how do we use it and apply it to financial planners? So benchmarking data, cost to serve, comparisons, and those sorts of things should all be readily available because we're able to use machine learning to extract those relevant points of information. There's two other clever pieces of machine learning that we're working on. One is automatic redaction. So there's a machine that will go and have a look at all the personally identifiable material and make sure that's not captured to cater for that eventuality. And Ash was saying, there's not much efficiency to be made in file notes and that sort of stuff, but I reckon there is.
Yeah.
So one of the points, if you have a meeting with a client, you've got to have a look at, for example, summarising the meeting, file notes, storing that in the CRM, identifying the actions, emailing the client and the like. We're working in our machine lab at the moment in automating that entire process. So if you've got the ability and the permission from the client to record that, then by the time you go from the meeting room or the virtual meeting room back to your desk, what you should have is a transcript of the meeting, a summary of the meeting, a file note that can automatically be stored in your CRM, or if not just automatically stored in your CRM, the actions identified, and a template email that goes to the clients confirming all the points of discussion. So we think
And just to make a point on this, Zoom does this now. It listens to your Zoom call, it then does a summary of the Zoom call, it asks you, do you want me to email out the minutes that I've created? The AI creates the minutes and emails them out. But again, it's all separate systems. So then you'd have to find a way to get that
yes,
to yours, whereas if you're using one financial advice system, you don't have to do all the integrations. Is that how it works?
That's true. And the other thing that we've noticed is that context in financial planning conversations is difficult for Zoom. So, understanding aged care as a phrase, for example, Australian accents can be an issue. And so we're working to use those tools in a specialist financial planning sense. So we increase the accuracy of the file notes.
And this is called fine-tuning in AI. See, I'm geeking out on you again. So fine-tuning is understanding that special language. We also talk about disambiguation, which is things like I have no interest in bank interest, can be confusing to a generalist GPT, but obviously would be very clear to a fiduciary one.
That's exactly right.
Yep. Okay. Cool. I have no interest in... Actually, I do. Bloody bank interest. Anyway. Okay, cool. We do have a couple of questions, but I suspect they're going to be answered through the demonstrations. So rather than having our guests, experts, talk to the questions and answer them and then demonstrate it, let's do the questions afterwards. Is that okay? All right, cool. Thank you. I'm taking that as a yes. George? You feel like doing your presentation now?
So I've got a recorded demo, if I can, I'm assuming. So let me just give you a heads up on what we're going to do. We're going to take you through a typical user journey. As I said, this is a fully client-led experience. This is for the 80 or 90% of the population that can't afford the median fee of $4,500 according to Investment Trends for an SOA. And my view of all this is that digital technology is an advisor's new best friend because it allows you to scale, as I said before, and to engage a client cohort that you would normally not be able to engage effectively, cost-effectively, and from a business perspective. But now with that technology, you can scale and do that very profitably. Oh, Okay, this is
mine.
That's yours. Okay, here we go, yeah.
Welcome to the Money GPS digital advice platform. Today I'll go through the platform from the perspective of a user who is looking to receive financial advice. The user will go to create account and enter the referral code, which will be provided to them by their accountant or advisor. Once they've done that, all they have to do is simply enter their details and hit create account. Once signed in, the user will be instructed to complete the money checkup by selecting the product guide, where they can watch the instructional video again or complete the survey. The survey will take 10 to 15 minutes depending upon the complexity of the user's circumstances and gathers just enough information for us to assess what advice topics would be suitable for them. The survey has a 79% completion rate and covers areas such as suitability, where users with complex requirements can be triaged out, assets and liabilities, where users can enter their financial details. This is where we utilise the Super Ratings API, meaning that clients don't have to retrieve a super statement to enter details about their asset allocation, fees and other information. We also ask things such as basic insurance details, where we just need to know what they have and the level of cover. We ask a number of scenario-based questions to help determine the user's risk profile, and we are continuing to improve this experience with planned integrations such as open banking, Xero Practice Manager and Xplan to help pre-populate the survey where possible. Once the survey is completed, the user can download a PDF copy or view the report on screen. The Money Checkup is a non-advice document that provides feedback on the health of the user's current circumstances. It provides an overview of the client's current circumstances, identifies the client's advice needs based on their goals. It analyses other areas for improvement across their finances with things such as lending, estate planning, and property. It provides a comparative analysis across 6 key areas, identifying how the user compares to their peers, looking at topics such as super balance and debt levels. It also provides a risk profile for the user and explains how this is used when determining advice outcomes. There is a superannuation health check, looking at consolidation, investment choice, and contributions. We then provide an insurance needs analysis, identifying any shortfalls across life, TPD, income protection, and trauma insurance. Finally, some modelling is done to look at how they are tracking for retirement and based on their spending habits, when their money is likely to run out. Money GPS also provides a hybrid experience where the user can then book in to speak with one of our GPS coaches who will answer any questions they may have about the findings of the report. Back on the home page, the advice topics we have determined would be suitable will now be available for the client to purchase. Before doing so, the client must pass a digital ID check by simply entering some basic details such as Medicare and driver's license. We currently utilise VIX Verify's Green ID service and do not see or store any of this information. Once verified, the user will now be able to select the topic that they wish to receive advice on and select Add to Cart. Doing so will display the letter of engagement, which they must agree to. This contains information such as the scope of advice, fees, and links to any important documents that they might need. Once this is done, we utilise a basic shopping cart checkout experience where they will be asked to make payment. After checking out, the user will be asked for any additional information that we need to complete the advice. The questions will be different for each topic, and more simple topics, such as contributions, may not need any further questions at all. Again, the user may wish to download a PDF or simply view the advice on screen. In the SOA, we will cover off the usual housekeeping, such as scope of the advice, information we've relied upon, and objectives of the client. We provide an educational example for the user so that they can see the benefits of implementing this type of advice. We then make a personalised recommendation showing all the key information along with a contribution warning based on their age. We then provide some modelling for the user to see the estimated outcomes, including super balance and tax savings, as well as providing information on tax treatment in super. Finally, the algorithm builds a best interest duty checklist where it identifies why we recommended this strategy, why it's in the user's best interest, any potential downsides to consider, as well as alternative strategies considered. As with any of our products, users are encouraged to book an appointment with a friendly GPS coach to answer any questions they may have, as well as next steps. The Money GPS platform allows users to receive fully personalised advice without any advisor involvement. However, the platform has a variety of other tools that the user can take advantage of. This includes our range of short courses that the client can work through, a number of calculators to model different scenarios, as well as other non-advice services such as estate planning, lending and more. Users can go to the profile section of the platform to update any of their personal details. This is where they can also view their purchase history, and importantly, any documents that they have purchased will appear here in their library. While the platform is free to use, we do offer monthly and yearly plans for the user, which provide benefits such as reduced plan pricing, cost of living rewards, and much more. Importantly, the platform can be customised to incorporate your logo and colours, as well as swapping out these financial services partners for your own. An example of this would be if you already have a preferred broker that you work with, then your clients would have access to them rather than ours. All of this can be managed by the referral sign-up code, which can be found in your management account. This is also where you can choose and manage your subscription plan to best suit your business's needs.
Thank you. That's a good educational video, in depth.
Thank you.
There was a question that came through.
Yes.
So the question is from Ruben. For George, when the trigger comes to refer a client from Money GPS to the planner,
Yeah.
bless you, are they unlikely to pay a full fee as they are coming from a very low cost option?
Well, it's up to the client. I mean, you can't force the client to pay the fee, but what we've done is identified the fact that the single topic advice process is not for them, and they should see an advisor about their situation, which probably is more complex, once we've had a chat to speak to them, or the tech has triaged them out.
So not to assume that because they're coming through the Money GPS
No.
path, that doesn't mean that they're a cheap.
Correct, because this is the thing. A lot of people that run through the process, you would expect they're from that 80 to 90% of the cohort in the country that can't afford $4,500 median fee. We've had a number of people who are high net worth go through the process because they just want one topic. The last person I spoke to was highly paid, highly educated, works in the digital field with Afterpay. He just wanted one topic, one solution. He could easily afford the $4,500 or $10,500 SOA. He just didn't want it at the time. He just wanted one topic. So it's the assumption that everybody makes, but it's not the reality of what's going on, because lots of people could probably afford it, they just don't want to, or they don't have a need for complex advice right now. Yeah,
Right. That makes sense to me. I hope, Ruben, that answered your question.
hopefully.
If there are any other questions, if you yell out, I'll repeat it because it needs to go on the recording. Does anybody have a question for George on Money GPS, please? Or are you all snoozing?
George, has there been an issue though?
Yeah.
When, sounds great the concept, but I just wonder, is there an issue
Yeah.
when the transition occurs to comprehensive advice? The fact that they're used to paying a very low fee, and you've got to go through the cell of complexity and comprehensiveness. Is that an issue?
Can you repeat the question for the mic?
Yeah, so the question was, is there an issue when someone is used to paying a low fee, where we're making the transition to complex advice and they're going to pay a lot higher fee? When we make that transition, the first step is to meet with a GPS coach. These are ex-financial planners, ex-CFPs who explain the situation, and we triage to the advisor at that point. Now, if the client wants to triage, that's fine. If they don't, it's up to the client. But we haven't had any issues. Once we explain why they're being triaged and why the tech has identified the trigger point, or even when they're meeting with a coach, if they're starting to ask a lot of questions, more in-depth questions about lots of different topics that they want to do, then it's probably at that point we stop the meeting, refund the money, and we refer them to the advisor who uses the platform for their cohort. So really the way we're doing this is that this is a B2B2C model. We work with an advisory business. We embed the system into your practice to look after that cohort, who at that point, great bulk of those people, if not all of them, cannot afford the $4,500. Now, if there's a trigger point, an inheritance or whatever, it's at that point for those people that are then referred. It's not when they first get there that they only need one topic. It needs a really good trigger point to refer them to the advisor. It's a bit like a lot of groups work in the medico space. They work with students at university, and we all know some of the major groups, yeah? Well, this is a perfect opportunity to engage those people as they're coming through until they're earning really serious money. Now, to do it when they're at university, very uneconomical, but what do? What you do is you use the tech, leverage the tech to engage those people and slowly engage them with a face-to-face option with your advisors. So it's not a huge surprise when I'm triaged to an advisor. They know that's coming, but for their circumstances, that's what they require at this point in time. Yeah. So the tech works with advisors. The tech is your new best friend. I've been in the business for, 35 years?
35.
Run a lot of dealer groups and had my own business. As I said, if I had this technology when I started my business, I would put it in every accounting firm I had because it does a lot of the work for you and it helps you engage those clients who really need advice. You know, I've seen people that make silly mistakes because they don't get the advice, they can't afford it, and this is the opportunity to give them the means where they can access advice and really make a difference to their lives. You know.
I'd just like to add in the technology space that if something is either free or low cost, it doesn't mean that that's a low net worth individual using it. We've got used to tools being free or low cost and then being upgraded from free or freemium to a more premium service. I expect it. I've got the money, I expect it. I may not expect it on day one, I want to give it a play, but then after that I'll be, I'm willing to go up to the next one. So don't assume that these people are coming in with no incentive to...
It's a really interesting point because when we ran a lot of the focus groups before we started the business about whether people would buy digital advice or even go online to meet with someone, this was before COVID, right? So COVID changed the world. The point at which they were quite happy to dip their toe in, as they said, was about $300 for a single topic digital plan. They didn't have any issues with the digital capability. Didn't have any issues with the AI or the algorithms because they knew that was set. Above 300, I think, as time goes on, people will accept that more so because we're getting into more complex advice. When we first started the business, we thought we'd produce simple advice topics or cater for simple advice topics. We're now producing retirement income SOAs and pre-retirement reports, which are much more complicated using stochastic modelling. This is deterministic straight line because they're simple topics. So I think down the track we'll go from $90 to $180 to $350 to $500 because the value's there, and at that point the tech can cater for more complex situations which demand a high price. Yeah.
Thank you. Question here.
Thanks, George. A couple of compliance-related questions for the AFSL.
Thank you very much.
So when a client goes through and puts their information in, they may misunderstand it or put a wrong number in.
Yeah.
What's the responsibility on the AFSL to make sure that advice is still appropriate? Obviously, there's no one checking what they put in.
Yeah.
And a second related question is, a good example there was that contributions advice. How far do you think you have to probe about asking their debt and expenses before you can recommend?
Yeah. Well, we asked.
Repeat the question.
Yeah. So the question was, the first part of the question was, well, how far do you need to go to make sure that the client's provided all the right information to at least say this is the advice topic that's the right for you? And the second point is like referring to the salary sacrifice SOA. How do you make sure you've got all the right information to make that recommendation? Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, I listened, so that's good.
Thank you.
The first point is that we have a 79% completion rate on that document. We have API'd into super ratings, so we've got as much superannuation data as we can for those people. We rely on the individual to provide the information to us, and it's very clear up front that they need to do that. We provide them, that's a free report, by the way, the Money Checker. They also have a free meeting with the GPS coach, who will go through that report with them to make sure that they've provided the right information. If they haven't, if they've missed anything out, they can go back and redo it at no cost. And it's the same thing with the SOA documents. Salary sacrifice is pretty easy. We normally have all the information we need for that. The completion of the money checkups to get them to the point where they complete it, so it's not an 80-page fact find, which sits on the kitchen table for 3 weeks. I'm showing my age, but that's what it used to do. And we've made preparation to ensure that we get as much information as possible through open banking and integrations with forthcoming integrations with Xplan and Xero Practice Manager. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah, I just thought if someone put a wrong debt figure and a wrong debt figure, and they had $2,000 a week repayments, and they put 200, and you recommended salary sacrifice because you think heaps of leftover income.
Yeah, the GPS coach will go through that with them to make sure they've done all that properly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a fail-safe, if you like, to have that human hybrid involvement. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions. If you have other questions, we should have some time at the end as well. We'll see. But thanks, George.
Pleasure.
Ash, are you
Ready?
okay? Victim number 2.
He's doing the live demo.
We're doing a live demo.
You guys can guess what my risk profile is. What am I doing?
Do you want me to?
There you go.
You're good. Okay.
Cool. All right, so what I want to do today is just show you how you can use digital advice first to be able to take care of your clients' ongoing services requirements. With Stream 1 of QAR, with streamlining of all the fee documents, all the requirements into a single document, a single fee consent document, we believe that digital advice is the way to go. You'll be able to deliver that fee consent document to your clients using one platform, and as Greg mentioned before, using a client portal. So everything on one platform. So today, we're looking at Marcus and Layla. This is your CRM. It tells you exactly when your opt-in due date is, your FDS due date, when your review date is, and surprisingly, it's today. Now, what do we do from here? Do we have to type something on a Word document, send it to them, email it to them, wait for them to get back to you, etc.? Or do we try to leverage digital advice as much as we can? Let me show you what you can do today. So first, let's click on the Gold Service Package. And this is the one currently in place. What digital advice allows you to do as well is, as you are completing the different services within the 12 months, you can mark them as completed. You keep track of everything that you're doing. Now, if let's say as part of your service package, you need to send 4 newsletters to your clients, you don't actually have to manually mark them as done. The system will actually do all of this for you. So as you're sending those newsletters using our system, you just tick it as something that you've done automatically. So this is what you've provided to Marcus and Layla for over the 12-month period. And all your fees are coming through from the different product providers. And now it's time to create that document. At the click of a button, you'll be able to choose the path that you're doing. If you're doing fixed-term agreements, you can do that, of course. If you're still doing FDS opt-in, that's fine. And what we're going to do now is create that document and then send it to Marcus and Layla. We're going to first make sure that everything is okay in terms of the fees, $8,000. If you're charging your clients via products, that's perfectly fine. We can even give you an estimation. You can review it. If you want to change it, you can do this. So it's invoice fees and product fees. Now, you've made sure that the services included are correct. And all I'm going to do now is, again, click a button, and you'll have your FDS opt-in document ready to go. Of course, this is just an example of what we've built for demo purposes. You can customize the document as per your needs. It includes the summary of services that you provided in the last 12 months, a summary of fees, and of course, a summary of what you're going to provide in the next 12 months. So once you've reviewed that document and everything looks okay, all you need to do is finalize the document. I'm going to show you how you can then send it directly to your clients. Now, in terms of compliance, as you finalize the document, everything starts to get date and timestamp in our system, as you can see on screen. Now, if let's say you've started a digital journey, like I've done here, and your client calls you and says, actually, I'm next door, can I come and see you? Of course, it's very flexible in the way it works. So you would meet the client, you could print this, give them something to sign, and then click on Acknowledged and Opted In. Of course, then load the document as a file note in your Documents tab, entirely your choice. But today, let's look at how it works in the digital space. So you would go send to client, click, and now again everything is dated and time stamped. You know exactly when it was sent to your client. And now I'm going to pretend to be Marcus and Layla. This is their client login, their client portal. And if I go to inbox, we've just got a message, all through automation, again, allowing you to be, save time. You don't have to write emails, you just create your template and it gets sent to your client at the right time. And this is pretty much telling the client that it's time to review the document. Again, they would click on this. Marcus and Layla, remember I'm pretending to be the clients right now, would go through the same document that you've prepared, and at a click of a button again, they'll be able to say that, yes, I acknowledge the fees that you charged me over the last 12 months, and I'm happy to opt into the renewal of my service package. So again, you're not doing this via email, you're not waiting for clients, you're not chasing them, it's all done via one platform using your login, the advisor login, and of course, the client portal as well. So now, if I go back to the advisor view, I'll just refresh the page. Again, I'll show you how compliant the whole process is. It says fee document acknowledged by Marcus, and also that he has opted into the service package renewal. I did it for Marcus only because I didn't want to go in and having to do the same thing twice, because with our client portals, everyone has their own login. So even if you're a couple, you have separate logins. That's one part of what I wanted to show you today. The next part will be really focused on what we've discussed today, on artificial intelligence, on machine learning. And to do that today, we're going to look at different clients. We're going to look at David and Julie. So let's talk a little bit about AI. What makes us unique? So the first thing is we use a combination of stochastic and deterministic modeling. We run Monte Carlo simulations, thousands of them. We're also very big on capturing your client's goals in a lot of details. So David and Julie today, they came to see you for retirement planning advice. They've told you what the main goal is in terms, of course, of a target dollar amount, how much they want to live on every year, so 138,000 to life expectancy. They also want to do a big around-the-world trip for 50,000, and they want to do some house renos. So right now, they are good for the two goals, the trip and the renovations, but unfortunately, they cannot afford 138,000 until life expectancy. So how we work out that number, that 59%, is by running 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations, and right now, only 590 of them are saying that they can hit that goal. So there's a bit of work to be done here. Traditionally, what you would do is this. You would go into the modeling part of your system, you would click on strategies, you would try to, let's see if we contribute to cap what happens, etc., try to work out the numbers. What we've built over the last few months is an optimization engine because we want to help you. So Greg and I had a bit of a debate before about file notes. I'm going to show you how you can focus on the research and development on one part of the process to really help you save a lot of time. I've said that before. What if I could reduce the amount of time you take to produce and develop a plan by 20%? I think this could have a huge impact on your practice and on the profits that you make as well. So now I'm going to show you what we call the Advice Genius. It's the same goal. Remember, they want 138,000 per year in retirement till life expectancy. And what we've done here is create a tool that would work out the optimal strategy values for your clients, taking into account, of course, each client scenario, for your clients to be able to hit their goals. So I'm going to click on Advice Genius, and then while this is loading, I'm going to explain how it all works. what's so smart about this is that pretty much right now we're running 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations, but at the same time we're working out that optimal strategy values for Julie and David to hit their goals. Now, what we're doing as well is we want our AI to be trained and to become smarter and more reliable for advisors. And we said, what can we do? So AI, advice intelligence, has been built with machine learning as a core function. Now, it means that as you feed data into the system, it starts remembering the data, creating patterns of modeling behaviors. So it's pretty much learning from itself. Now, in order to make this even better, what we've done recently is we've fed our optimization engine with thousands of different advice scenarios, all different client goals, different advice strategies, etc., TTR, think about cash flow, contributions among 50 different strategies that we can do in AI. And what this is doing is training our AI to become more efficient. And now I've clicked on a button, and this is where we want to guide you. We want to help you. How much time will it take you to come out with the optimal values for your clients? I've clicked a button now, and it tells you exactly how much David and Julie need to contribute to be able to hit their retirement goal. It's telling you Sure, 1 minute. It's telling you how much more risk they can take based on their risk profile. But also, it takes into account your clients' intentions. If you're talking to your clients, because this is what you do best, you understand who they are, what their goals are, etc. If they tell you that they've always wanted to retire earlier, you can even add this as part of the optimization. And we've taken that into account now. And instead of retiring at age 67, we're helping David and Julie retire at age 63. So this is something that we've been working on for the last few months now, and we'll keep developing it because we think... I guess I've been talking about the optimization. Yes, the modeling engine's been built for 6 years.
The last bit of the last version.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that optimization on top of the modeling engine makes it even more powerful. Happy to answer any questions you may have
We do
afterwards.
have a couple of questions for you, maybe at the end. We can
That's
go
good.
to We'll go to Greg now, but thank you for that. It was
Awesome.
very informative. I learned lots. Thank you. Greg?
Oh, thanks.
I love Ash's enthusiasm for productivity of financial planning processes. I might have a word to you about efficiency and productivity of demonstrations, given I've got not much time left. So,
No, you're good.
11 minutes, come on, mate.
But anyway, so I'll go relatively quickly, but I want to demonstrate 3 things. First of all, a safe and secure way of transferring information to and from your clients, the key personal information. Secondly, the productivity gains by digitising and streamlining some of those processes, productivity gains for advisors. And third, the user experience and a contemporary mobile experience that is very different, typically, to the typical process today. So, the first thing I will go to is what we've concentrated on is making it as easy as possible for advisors to start, and that's about being integrated with your ecosystem. So we've integrated with financial planning software such as Iris. We've integrated with accounting software like Xero. We've integrated with digital signature providers and obviously self-managed super software providers and platform providers as well. And that can all be done through the integrations tab quickly and easily. One of the central parts of My Prosperity is the mobile experience. And this is completely customizable. So what we want you to be able to do, whether you're an accountant or a planner, is to create a customized journey for all your clients. The first thing is branding. So you can see in this case it's Jones Allen and Company. But the way, the look and feel and the appearance of that home screen is completely customizable. So if you're a financial planner, you're likely to have that net worth screen front and center. If you're an accountant, you may choose to have a different screen. But then all those things that appear on that front page and the things that appear below are not that interesting? It's okay.
You're so naughty.
Completely customisable.
It's all right.
Completely customisable. So all those things, it's simply a matter of dragging and dropping, and that's what will appear on your client's mobile experience. Now, one of the real pain points associated with financial planning and accounting is the collection of data from your clients. And so what we've done is digitise that experience, and I'll show you what that looks like now. So you can assign a digital form quickly and easily. Now, for a financial planner, that's likely to be a document like a fact find. The fact find that you choose here is, again, customisable. So this is your fact find. This is not a standard fact find that comes via MyProsperity. And it is simply a case, and that can be pre-filled. So the data that is held in your systems is pre-filled in these documents, and then it's sent to the client to complete. You can then check progress about your client's completion of these documents. So you can see who has started them, you can see how far through them they are, you can see whether they get stuck, you can see when they are completed, and you can see when they are signed. What we're trying to do here is have a look at all those key pieces, those key processes that are happening in a financial planning and an accounting practice, and digitise them and streamline them. And it's likely that there's going to be the creation or the sending of a document to a client, such as a authority to proceed or a statement of advice, requesting a signature from a client, or assigning them a digital form for completion. Now, the requesting of a signature is very straightforward. It's simply a matter of identifying the client that you want to have the form signed by, choosing the form, and then sending a message to the client. That will appear in their app. They'll get a notification that there's an activity for them to do, and they can do that quickly and easily. It's simply a matter of obviously dragging that to where you want the click and sign to be. But that is a very different experience to the traditional experience of getting an email with a PDF, printing it, completing it, scanning it, returning it, and all the cybersecurity issues that are related to that process. From time to time, you are going to want to collaborate to complete a task. Now, that might be something like an onboarding of a client. It might be working with an estate planning lawyer to work out an estate plan. It might be a tax return. It might be something like the completion of insurance. But you're going to want to collaborate with the clients and other professionals to complete a task, and that is what Rooms is all about. So first of all, it's simply a matter of identifying who needs to be in that room. So it's going to be a client, it might be a spouse, it might be children, for example. It might be an estate planning or an insurance specialist. But it's first of all, simply a matter of getting the right people in the room with access to that information. And then it's a matter of assigning the right tasks to those people in the room. So that might be about adding a document to sign, the creation of a digital form, or adding a to-do list for the client. And the client is then going to get a list of exactly what it is that they need to do to complete that task. It makes it very simple and straightforward and easy experience for them. Importantly, what I was talking about before about in-app messages, this is completely available through Rooms as well. So if you're a millennial client, and George mentioned before the importance of engaging with digital savvy millennial clients. Millennial clients are going to be the recipients of $3.5 trillion in the next 20 years. Yep. They're growing in wealth. Advice is moving from a want to a need for those sorts of clients. And a digital experience like this with in-app messaging becomes really important. So not only can you in-app message the other professionals or the family members or the clients, for example, they can in-app message you, and it is a secure place to store all those documents and make sure that the people have access to the documents they need to perform the tasks that they need to perform. So what does that client experience then look like? The client is going to get a notification on their mobile that they have an action to fulfil. They go to their screen, obviously the Jones, Allen and Company app. There is the potential for you to have your own app in the App Store, for example, through the MyProsperity portal. They get a list of their tasks. It might be a matter of simply signing a form. That is an absolutely straightforward process. The form is digitally signed. The client, obviously the advisor gets a copy of that, but then the document is stored in their document vault, and they've got access, or they've got the ability to control who sees that document and where it goes. The completion of forms is straightforward. They do it in their own time, on their own terms, on their mobile. The feature of MyProsperity, I'm told, that gets the most views is the property valuation. So if you put in your address, if you're a principal prime of residence or your investment properties and the like, there's a live data feed from Core Data which gives you an estimate. People love that for some reason. Similarly, if you put your motor vehicles in, make and model and year, then you're going to get an estimate via Redbook, which powers car sales. Open banking is a critical part of that. So all the major financial institutions, you've got details of loans and credit cards, bank account spending, budgeting, cash flow, and those sorts of things are immediately available via MyProsperity. Now, it's interesting, when most people think of a client portal, they think of cash flow and net worth and things being up to date. Our experience has been that that is of people coming to us to talk about MyProsperity. That's their main interest, probably 5% of the time. The real point of interest that we're seeing is those cybersecurity issues and the sharing of data and the collection of data and how you're managing those points of integration. It is an additional benefit that the client gets in their hand or in their pocket, something that keeps their investments up to date, including open banking, so that they've always got an idea about performance and net worth and those sorts of things as well. And I've already spoken about that, so I will not talk about that again. Any questions?
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yay. Just before I go to the questions, there's something I'd like to point out that we've been discussing in the AI community now for a couple of months, and that is that email is going to break completely. Not to be too dramatic, but the general consensus is that we've integrated AI into email, creating fake emails, AI-generated emails, and spamming people 50 times a day with what should be persuasive or personalised messaging is just going to turn people off of email, no matter how brilliant the AI is that's spamming you. And so I think if you're doing your whole business on email, it's time to rethink that. And I'm not saying that you are, but I've seen industries that are extremely heavily reliant on sending emails through to clients to do follow-up. Absolutely. We'll replace the CEO with an AI and it'll all be fixed overnight.
Noticed in the last 6 months, just a very slightly perceptible move by some clients to go to snail mail.
Right.
They don't trust the email.
So for the recording, the gentleman is suggesting that Australia Post means that people are shifting off of email onto snail mail.
Very small.
A very small percentage. And then I'm suggesting there's a lot of people that are moving away from email to almost any other service because being heard above the noise is just becoming impossible and will become more impossible, and the sheer volume is going to become unmanageable. I mean, I was looking at the amount of fake websites. I don't know if you know, but ChatGPT now has the ability to create a website for you directly just by writing in one sentence, please create me a website as a plumber in the Blue Mountains, and you hit the button and it creates the website for you. It doesn't just give you recommendations. So we're going to start to see fake news websites, fake news email, more than what we have. So I would suggest trusted, centralised mobile. Oh, Ash, there was a question for you. Is there a mobile app for yours?
It's responsive to the device that you're using.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, this is the same kind of thing. So mobile responsive versus app.
Yeah.
And centralised app stores, I'm not sure where they're going to go in the near future, but there we go. Okay, goody. Was there any other questions here? Does the signature portal on MyProsperity satisfy the financial institutions, e.g. like DocuSign?
Yes.
And Adobe sign design, something like
Yes.
that? Okay. The answer is yes, for whoever asked that one.
Well, it does for Hub24.
Why didn't Ash also use the Firefox browser? Yeah, Ash, why didn't you?
No, not a big fan of it.
What other questions do we have out there, please? Don't worry about the next session. Who cares about them?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience. You guys have been all right too.